Something unusual is happening in Florida. Mary Miller, current VP of Women, Jennifer Fassano, one of the candidates, Nick Cummings, Andrea Devonport.
I can take over this portion, Charlie. No shortage of critiques from the sidelines of people saying how it could be done better. Thank the people who show up and do it.
It's been a wild ride trying to deal with COVID. And
thank you for everything you've done for the union.
But my start in rugby, move Nick up. My start in rugby started actually at the University of Central Florida in Orlando. I also got to play with the high performance player team here in Florida. And then I moved and played some USA South. And then I played for Ciampa Women's and Orlando Women's. So a lot of Florida-based teams I've been around, and I'm just excited to potentially help continue the plans that Mary has put in place.
I've been playing rugby about 7 years. I live in Fort Lauderdale. Started in high school, played at the University of North Florida, and been playing with SoFlo, and this year I'll be playing with Boca. As Charlie mentioned, I own No Flop Sports, and I pride myself on covering women's rugby a lot and I think with my reach of No Flop Sports, I can help not only the growth of women's rugby in Florida, but help these athletes, these women, reach their highest level of potential. Not enough teams, not enough players, and most of these teams have been around for a long time, so they should all most definitely have a high school team attached to them. Develop the youth, because without the youth, we will not see women's rugby in Florida in 10, 15 years. So.
What specifically could the union do?
The union teams are not doing enough. They like to say they're doing enough, but we want to see it in action.
But I'll add, it's just not coverage alone for women's rugby. It's these teams are trying. And when you meet and you talk to all these teams, you realize we have brilliant teams at getting sponsorships, at getting field time, recruiting. Tampa's been doing fantastic, expanding their team and playing. It's just that they're in the middle of the state. Sometimes it gets hard to, where can we expand to? So assist in doing is kind of helping expand that reach of who are we playing to expand our game when we have it. Making sure the rest of our teams stay strong is the next point of then rebuilding in Indian River and adding extra teams. But Orlando has a great feed system. They fixed some things, and that's probably going to be back. Jacksonville has UNF right there. They don't have a women's club. They have a men's club. So they have some of those situations figure, all right, how can we get a club at UNF? Players and youth and people excited to play rugby are there. We got to start pointing them back in the right direction, and then giving those teams that are exceptional the extra chance to play higher outside of Florida. How can we enhance fall ball right now? How can we enhance who we're playing with in the fall? Women referee development, administrative development. We have some clubs that are very good at one thing and some clubs that are still struggling with that, even if they're a good team.
With the scheduling, I would love to see all teams have at least 20 players registered before we can actually put them on that matrix season. I hope in 3-4 years we have 7-8 women's teams.
Is there a question in there, Charlie? You're just rambling for 10 minutes.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
One of the things that we've done twice, at least in the past, were development camps that included the college teams.
But it does take that hard work. You can walk into any public high school and have a meeting with the athletic director. You can set that up within a week.
And who are they going to play? Because I've seen the teams be created. Wellington's doing a fantastic job. I remember them, though, to get more playing time, would come to our sevens tournaments back when it'd be like in Sebring. But that disconnect is just, how can we figure out playing time? And once we get there, wherever they go off to college, if they stay in Florida, lucky us, they'll probably come back to their own women's teams that they started. But I work for FSU as a sport clubs coordinator, so I oversee 40 sport clubs as is. That's part of my administrative position here. Growing in, especially, I've only been in Florida rugby. I've nonstop, every team I'm in Florida. So I got...
I don't think gender matters. I think I can bring, hopefully expand women's rugby here in Florida.
It's been almost over 8 years of experience just in Florida rugby and playing at the collegiate level and the women's level, and then even the short sprint of time that we had a high performance level, that I understand most of the struggles that we're going through. I think with my connections both in the state and out of the state, I'm excited for the potential to kind of see what I can do for the state.
Was the president of Fort Miami for 4 years, the vice president, the secretary, the match secretary for Fort Miami for several years. So now I'm excited to try to give back in another way and try to incorporate some of the youth and girls rugby into the women's rugby. And obviously the focus is on the women's side, but we won't have a women's side without the kids. So we really kind of have to integrate that into like our decision-making process for the women. You got to put your money where your mouth is, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And she is by far the better Davenport.
Oh my God.
The voting is going to take place at the AGM on September 16th at Okeechobee County Public Library, 2 p.m. For this particular position, it's the 4 teams, Orlando, Fort Miami, Jacksonville, and Ciampa, that are voting for this position to be their VP representative. Somebody who has the experience, somebody who's passionate and can be there to advocate for the women, whether they're successful or they're struggling. I'm thankful for the opportunity to have been in this position over the course of a few years. I wish that I had more time in the day to be able to help prioritize more and to really be a part of this new wave of changes that are potential.
I will say that I don't want to do any of this stuff. This is the best podcast we've ever done, in my opinion.
You haven't done too many, so you know. You've done 3, so you know. I've done 54, so I've done much better for sure.